Hey everyone, it's Jonathan. Welcome back to my coverage of the 2026 Julien Dubuque International Film Festival. Today, Nikki and I are covering what we saw on Friday, which includes some of the best stuff we saw for the whole festival, as well as some of the worst. I'm going to try to link to some of the trailers and or social media for some of these, and not to spoil my ultimate takeaway, if you watch absolutely nothing else that we'll be talking about in this episode, you need to watch Soapbox. Just trust me, it was amazing. I might even end up listing it next year when I start ranking my best of 2026 animation. And if I remember, I might even include it in my overall best films of the entire year recap. It was that good. I feel like we didn't talk about it long enough in this episode because we didn't want to spoil it, so I feel like I just needed to make extra special mention of it here just to reiterate how great it was. Anyway, we'll talk more about Soapbox later. Let's get on to Friday at the Julien Dubuque International Film Festival.
So we started out with a feature-length documentary called The Last Picture Show, which was essentially the documentarian lives in Seattle, and he was covering kind of the fate of small movie theaters across a good chunk of the western states. So basically Nebraska, West, not including like Texas. But it traveled like everywhere: California, New Mexico, Colorado. He was everywhere.
Just taking pictures and interviewing people at essentially like the last theater for miles. Because like we talk about theaters dying in the Midwest, like where I am, we're the only theater for miles. You have to go like almost an hour to get to the next theater.
Yeah.
But apparently it's even worse out west.
And he kind of said there was multiple reasons for that. One was the fact that a lot of them have closed down. Streaming, obviously, COVID reduced the number quite a lot. The ebb and flow of the movie industry obviously plays into that. Economics with bookers and just the general state of a lot of like mainstream movies. Just age of some of the people that have run the movie theaters for so long, and just small town life generally. Also, too, though, the one thing that the guy said, just from a general perspective, the towns are a lot further apart.
Yes.
So you do kind of have a cinema desert to start with if your town doesn't have a cinema. So that kind of started everything off. But yeah, from there, everything else kind of snowballs on top of it already kind of iffy situation. So. But it was cool because, there is a lot of not great, but there was also, they made sure to keep it balanced. They talked about the good things, the way that diversification of what you're showing, not necessarily taking the blockbusters that Hollywood is giving. One of the subtitles or sub-chapters was about how people are, sick to death of Marvel. So I think he did it over the course of, 7 years?
I don't remember the exact length of time, but it was quite a while. He took a while to both drive around the West and then edit, of course. So I don't know what it was beginning to end.
Yeah, it was quite a process. I mean, it was the one kind of consistent thing was across quite a few of the theaters. He must have visited a lot of them when Shazam 2 was out.
Apparently, yeah.
Because at the end, he was kind of doing the recap of, okay, this is this theater, that's what happened with that theater. And then he made sure to specifically say that Shazam 2 was considered an office or a bomb because it didn't make back its money.
And part of the problems that at least one of the big problems he was talking about is like the contracts that the studios make the theater sign is like, you must keep this in your theater for this amount of time.
Oh yeah.
So if a theater takes a movie and nobody wants to see that movie, they're still stuck with it.
Oh yeah.
And they have to dedicate a screen to it, which is a problem.
It is. Well, especially if you're a single
screen theater. Yeah,
right,
that's
exactly.
terrible for them.
Oh yeah. And for so many of them, why would you have more than one screen if you're in a town of 2,000 people or 5,000 or whatever?
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a big problem, and there were some good questions brought up in the Q&A, and the guy was super informative. I wish I could have gotten his information, but I guess you could look up the movie and go from there. But he's taken this as a very educational thing and has provided it to a lot of places or plans to provide it to a lot of places just for an education purpose and bring light.
I think he said fundraising too.
Yeah, very much.
To give it to the theaters so that they can play it to raise money for things that they need to do because the theaters aren't making enough money to do renovations and stuff.
Yeah, a good chunk of them aren't. And that's the thing about any brick and mortar You got to keep your base costs don't change, and a bad roof or a bad projector or changing of seats, it all affects you. So, but it's also at our favorite venue too, Five Flags Theater. We got our own little like balcony.
Yeah, think
box.
where Statler and Waldorf sit in the Muppets. It's one of those.
Yeah, exactly. We weren't going, oh, ho, 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 but that was later in the day we had that. But so the next thing up was a short block, and the focus was largely kind of animal-based or nature and environmental-based things. It wasn't like quite a gambit, but you did have quite a variety of different approaches, I guess. So the first thing up was called Ocean Watch, which was kind of I would almost say promotional video for, it's called the Falkor 2. It's a vessel that goes out to sea, is absolutely loaded with scientific equipment and labs, and basically they have a submarine that's called Sub Bastion, and they go down to the bottom of the ocean and they explore and track and scan the bottom of the ocean. And
the bulk of the documentary was about like the vents where a lot of undersea life congregates. And I had the same thought at the beginning about it feeling like a promotional video. Like it was almost like they were advertising the ship.
Yeah.
But then it did transition into the bulk of the documentary being about the vents and mapping the ocean floor. So
it's super interesting. Like some of the things that they showed down at the bottom, it didn't. When I read the kind of blurb about it, I thought it was going to be more in the realm of a traditional nature documentary, just from the perspective of the ship. But yeah, no, it was an interesting mix of promotional video and some of the things that they do, which, I mean, that's how you bring light to this stuff is, toot their horn, and they were certainly tooting their horn. So the next one up was called Fragmented. This was probably the real outlier of this group.
Yeah.
Very, very artistic.
It felt like they had a good idea, but I kind of didn't love the execution.
I think it went on for too long.
If it had been different, I don't think it would have been. Because, the premise of the thing was there was a woman she was a ballet dancer. She got an injury. She couldn't dance professionally for a while. So she was, I guess, doing sort of an art dance piece to bring attention to the plight of the coral reefs. And, on its surface, that's an interesting idea, but it was kind of dull. It felt like it could have, in different hands, it could have made, a really cool, live-action Fantasia set piece. Because, I love that kind of thing. Fantasia was my favorite movie as a kid. Putting science and art together is just an awesome idea. My favorite section of Fantasia was the dinosaurs and the prehistoric life. And this felt like it could have been something like that, but with a dancer dancing through scenes. But she was kind of just in an empty room, and there was maybe a couple projections on the back wall. The idea was good. It just felt like maybe she needed somebody to help her bring the idea to life in a more dynamic way.
Yeah, because she was basically living out, kind of doing what the coral would do, because the main focus was, the bleaching of coral. So, she would, have her legs or arms up in the air, kind of waving in the sea
mimicking
currents and stuff.
The movement of undersea, stuff in the coral reef.
Yeah, exactly. And the connotation, the metaphor worked because, the idea was that she needed to rest and have respite to be able to recover, and the same is true of the coral reefs. But it was, I don't know, more about her than it was the coral reefs.
Kind of, especially when it had close-ups of her doing pained faces.
Yeah.
You could tell that she was putting on a pained act. This is not filmed during a time when she was injured. This was after the fact. She's in recovery, so she's not in great pain, but there was a couple points where she looked like she was putting on a very pained face that was not genuine, and you could tell.
Absolutely. And this is actually, at the end, it was talking about how it was one in a series. I think it was called Climb Art. So it is sort of a combination of the stories of different environmental plights and how something in someone's life kind of relates to that particular plight. And maybe the other ones, maybe after you see a couple, you kind of get them.
Maybe in the series they're
I don't
better.
know.
Like, I like this idea.
Yeah.
Like, this is a very good idea. It just felt like it needed a little something more.
I would imagine too, like as a, what is it, like abstract theater? It's not abstract theater. What is there's a term of like
Interpretive dance?
interpretive dance. That's exactly what this felt like.
Yeah, I think I think that probably is what it was.
Yeah. But it was taken to a point where if you didn't know the people that they were specifically talking about or have a little bit of insight into some part of that, outside of the fact, okay, coral reefs are suffering, we need to do something. I don't think it's going to have maybe as much impact. And it was very, like you said, it was theatrical, which is good, but there wasn't, you were rooting for her, but you weren't engaged in the story because it was so outside of just everything.
I think part of it too was it just wasn't as dynamic as it could have been. I think it was on purpose because like the specific problem that she's talking about is the bleaching of the coral reefs. So the color in the whole thing was very desaturated.
Oh, yeah.
So it just added to the dullness. I mean, it wasn't very long, so it wasn't like a chore to get through.
No,
It just,
no.
I felt like there was a good idea that could have been fleshed out better.
Right. And I mean, that's anytime you have these, they take time to kind of get to where they're polished. And like I said, again, as you said, the idea was really cool. It just, there was some finesse or maybe some pre-production that could have helped it to be something a little bit more than what it was. It was cool at the end. They were talking about, like, they do all the thanks and stuff. And the costumes that she wore were recycled, or they were pulled from plastic.
It was like plastic that had been sourced from the ocean, like stuff that had been just tossed in the ocean. They were gathering up plastic out of the ocean and turning it into ballet costumes.
That was very cool.
Yeah.
They were really unique. Like, there was a lot of really cool stuff about it. The elements of it were fantastic. It's just the way it was put together maybe needed a little bit more work.
Yeah, probably.
The next thing we had was Turn Off the Machines. This one was probably the most traditional not even traditional documentary, but you had a gentleman named Ethan who basically lived off the grid, like extreme off the grid, like complete and utter. He had a landline, was probably the most advanced piece of technology that he had.
Yeah.
They were out in the country up in Maine, very anti-capitalist.
Anti-consumerism.
Yep.
They did everything themselves, basically.
Yeah, self-sufficient.
You could see some stuff in the background, like, of the house. Like, they had some, I don't want to say modern things, but, like, some stuff that you could tell they did not make themselves.
Right.
But I don't know how much you can avoid that completely.
Oh, agreed. Well, and they do a lot of, like, it's not just about making stuff themselves. It's about, like, bartering isn't the right word. Like,
I mean, part of it was bartering. Like, they were trading services with other people nearby.
Right. So that's probably where a lot of that stuff came from. Like, they would, like, give someone a goat and they would, to keep the breeds, like, their biogenetics, or the crossbreeding. So there's some diversity.
Avoiding inbreeding, so they're not breeding with their own stuff over and over again.
Exactly. Their water source came from rainwater. They had a fire burning stove. They talked a lot about how your average person, that's got a house, your carbon footprint is large, and you're always paying for these services. You're dependent on everybody else. And it was really interesting because the guy had chronic Lyme's disease, and still, like, in the wintertime, he was with another guy running, like, round hay bales, not the big ones, but, like, smaller round hay bales up a hill.
Yeah. That was my favorite shot of the whole thing, them pulling the hay bale past these big transformers.
Oh yeah. It was really well shot. They kept it very neutral in the way that they approach things. And the thing about Ethan was he was involved in the community. Like, he wasn't like a recluse. And he had a wife and 2 kids that were involved in the community too. They went to normal school. They kind of did all that stuff. They just preferred, homesteader life, I guess. So
it was kind of at the beginning when it first started, I was getting, like, weird cult vibes, but then as it went on, it was like, okay, that's not what this is, because he's not, like, telling people they must do what he's doing. So it wasn't the same as, like, a cult.
Right. It absolutely wasn't.
It just gave me that impression at the beginning. And, like, as hardcore as he is, the fact that he sent his kids to public school did make me feel better about the whole thing in a weird way, because he's not, like, forcing them to be recluses with him.
Right. And he's not even like he said the way that the co-directors talked, that he was largely invested in the community. They brought out a fair amount of people through just word of mouth. They don't charge for anything, which not charging for something isn't the only, that doesn't stop the transmission of weird stuff, but like he seemed to be genuinely just a really good person that wanted to talk to people about what he did. And
yeah.
So.
And I will also say, as much as at the beginning it felt like it was sort of almost propaganda towards his way of life, the further we got into it, the more you could tell that it was not the filmmaker's intent to make you think that you need to do what he's doing. Because, like, it was almost more about what was not said by his family than what was said. Because you could tell that his wife, as much as she also believed in this, I don't think she was happy. I was not getting happy vibes from her. Just the things that she was saying and not saying.
Yeah.
Just, you could tell that they were not saying some things.
Well, and I mean, when you know that the other stuff is out there, I mean, if things stay good, it's like anything. When life is running along at a decent pace and everything is steady, life is good. But, you have a bad, they talked about drought, they talked about all that kind of stuff. If too much of that stuff happens or someone gets sick or whatever it might be. Yeah, exactly. What happens? How do you still have to live within the context of the confines of a normal community? Like if you're Amish or Mennonite or anything else, I mean, I kept thinking back to, throughout history, there's been these utopian societies, and I'm not saying that he falls into that realm because he does seem to have his head pretty firmly planted, or his feet firmly.
He seems more down to earth than a lot of people who are doing the same thing.
Yeah, but all of those, to some extent, they work for a while and then they don't because of something happens, something
like the religious aspect and someone trying to control the rest of the people.
Right, which again is not the case.
Which did not seem like that was what was going on here, because that's what I was afraid of at the beginning.
Oh, same, yeah. Like they sing a song of thanks for what they have on their plate, like you would before a meal, like a prayer kind of a thing. And at one point he did do teachings at the
Universalist Unitarian, maybe?
Yes.
It was a Universalist Christian church.
Yeah. But that could have also just been like a meeting place because it's a small town. Like not small, like not tiny, but...
Yeah, I didn't get the impression that he was taking on the role of a pastor or anything.
No.
I think they were...
It's more
They might have
place.
been attending the church, but I don't think that was the point of that specific meeting.
Right. And there's just, like John said, it's kind of that balance of what you can control, and you can only stay self-sufficient if you're able to take care of yourself. And there's a lot of things that can happen that can kind of toss that into issues. So, and it's in how you respond to those issues that take you forward or whatever. So,
yeah.
But no, a very interesting documentary. The one thing that they did say, and I think it was the thing that I pulled most from it, and it's the reason that I really liked it, they have a lot of people that come in and, they'll stay with them and kind of go, tell me about your life. And a lot of folks that in some way, shape, or form will follow some part of that homestead, and I think it was Ethan's wife that was like, people come here and we've gone other places and we take pieces. You can glean this or that from this, but it's not necessarily the entire lifestyle, which is true. You pick what works for your specific situation, and that's huge.
I think that was one of those scenes where, yes, it was about what was being said, but there was also what was not being said, because she was also talking about them getting older.
Yeah.
And not finding someone who was going to do it exactly the way they wanted, and not being sure what the future was going to hold.
Well, that's fair too. Very fair. And it's good that they put that in there. It's important to see that it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah.
And I don't think they think that, but it certainly is something to consider. And then the last one was Melrakki the Arctic Fox, Queen of Kevlar?
Melrakki the Arctic Fox, Queen of Caviar.
Caviar? Yeah, probably. Iceland.
So.
It was an island. It was an island off of Iceland, and they were in a fjord, So life is good.
There's one house on this island that they were based out of, and they were filming a specific fox.
Yep.
Like following her around for a few weeks.
Exactly. Well, which, yeah, I think it was like 9 or 10 days, and they had to get out.
It was a short amount. Yeah, maybe it was just that. It was a short amount of time compared to the other documentaries we've been seeing. It was much shorter.
Absolutely. And with that, too, it's the way it came off, it felt like, I mean, again, it wasn't Planet Earth level. You don't have a massive studio behind you by any stretch. But it definitely kind of had that vibe of a professionally done thing. And it didn't have the feel of a Planet Earth documentary just because you don't have the budget and everything behind it. But it did have a professional gleam to it, or professional shine to it.
It felt like something I would have watched on PBS as a kid.
Oh, 100%, yeah. Like, it felt like something you would watch, like, in class. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was just two people. You know, I don't know if they were husband and wife or just, like, business partners or what, but
I think they were husband and wife.
that would make sense.
I feel like that they might have said that. Don't quote me for sure, but I'm pretty sure that they were partners.
Yeah, I think you're right now in retrospect, because the name of their production company, or the name of the, whatever it was, Glatz Productions or Glass Documentaries or whatever it was, related back to that. But yeah, no, it was, the wife did the voiceover work, and she was phenomenal.
She was. I almost, when it first started, I was like, I feel like I know this voice. I didn't, because like she was there at the end and I don't know who she was, but I almost felt like she sounded like a professional actress.
Yeah.
Like somebody I would have recognized. I just couldn't pinpoint who.
Absolutely. And yeah, I think they had started to try and like kind of do all the different Arctic foxes on the islands, but for whatever reason, they kind of ended up focusing on this one.
Well, this one chased away all the other ones. Like, she had a huge territory. That's why they called her the queen of this place.
Oh, that's right.
Because she got rid of everybody else in the vicinity. Mm-hmm. So she was the one that they focused on because she made herself the vocal point.
She's a diva.
I guess so.
Yeah, the only time you ever saw another Arctic fox was like when her and her mate were kind of playing.
Yeah.
And even then, it was a very short bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a really well put together documentary.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting and concise.
That one was probably my favorite, but part of me wonders if, like, was it my favorite because the others were so long and I was just tired of it, and it was like, this is a great short one. I really liked that.
Well, and it was, I think, the most concise. It was kind of a Cliff Notes thing, or Spark Notes.
Kind of, yeah.
Like, it hit all the main points. It talked a little bit about, like, outside circumstances and human interference, but it didn't go into those hardcore. Like, it was really just kind of the basic information. You know, it talked about the fact that an Arctic fox has very thick fur, that they can stand temperatures up to whatever amount. You know, this is how it stores food. This is its mating. It was just more informational than it was anything else.
Yeah. Like I said, it really felt like something I would have watched on PBS as a kid.
Oh, yeah. Well, and they have a YouTube channel, like, with 50 or 60
Yeah, I need
of
to look
these.
them up, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I would suggest it. But yeah, it was very informative and just a good, solid piece of documentary work.
Yeah.
So, the next thing we did was another short block. Man, we saw so many movies today of all lengths. So the first one up, this is more kind of animation specific. Like, it wasn't 100% animation, but
it wasn't 100% animation, but it was like the most animation that I think we're going to get. I don't remember what we're seeing tomorrow, but this I think is like the most of what we're going to get for animation.
We have a student block tomorrow, so there might be some animation.
There is some in that, yeah, that's true.
But this one was there was some live action with animation, but then there were some outrightly fully animated pieces done in a wide variety of formats too.
Yeah, this block, I will say. This is my favorite block that we watched. It had my absolute favorite thing I've seen the whole festival. I don't think anything is going to top it. It also had the worst thing that I think I've seen the whole festival, and I don't think anything is going to top it.
No, I would agree with you there. And the thing is, there were good bits to even the stuff that wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, it comes down to not necessarily the technical aspects, but more the story or the plot aspects.
Yes.
So the first thing up was called In the Still of the Night, which was a student film. I didn't realize that.
That was a student film?
That was a student film.
They did a really good job.
Oh, it's fantastic. The idea is it was, I think Spanish. Yeah, I think it was Spanish.
Yeah, it was a Mexican family.
Yep, exactly. So it was celebrating of the Day of the Dead. The mom and dad don't necessarily believe in the power of like putting up an altar to honor your elders that have passed on, but their son was, and it kind of turned into a Santa Claus scenario. He's like, oh, when can I see him? Because the grandpa.
I guess it did kind of have that feel, didn't it?
It did. It was just like, I mean, questions that kids will ask. But it was a lot of, can I meet him? Because the grandson didn't get the chance to meet his grandpa before he passed away.
Yeah.
But so it kind of ran into that, and then the animated bit for this was relatively small, but still very sweet. It was a butterfly that came and kind of landed on Jesus or Jesus. Sorry, Jesus from Veracruz.
The kid's name was Jesus.
Yes, exactly. But it was very, very sweet. It was probably in my top 3 for the shorts in this block.
It was a really well done story.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was just it was a tear for me. It was a tearjerker. But it was really cool.
Yeah,
So.
I really liked that one.
Just a sweet story, and it didn't try to be anything other than what it was.
Yeah. It was just a small story telling the story of a child meeting his grandfather for the first time.
And then it was dedicated to the director's grandpa who had passed away. And it was really heartfelt.
Yes.
It kind of did what Coco did on a much smaller scale without the magical dog.
Yeah. Well, there was a Xolo there in the background of one of the shots.
That's right. That's right. Not quite as dramatic, but certainly the same heart.
Yeah.
The next one up was, I think, arguably both of our favorite, if not top 2.
It was my favorite, definitely.
And it's called Soapbox. So, like Soapbox Racers.
Yes.
And
like little kids building racing cars.
Oh, it was so fun. So you have like these 5 different teams, and one of them is a weird adult. Doesn't make any expressions.
I've never seen Mad Max, but this felt like a kid's version of Mad Max from like clips that I've seen of Mad Max. Just these ridiculous cars racing down a mountain.
Yep. It was all what you would expect like a kid's drawing to look like. Like the fire was.
Yeah, the animation was all incorporated and puppetry also.
Yep.
In ways that, like, they're not going for realism, they're going for kids' imagination. And it was just so well done.
Absolutely.
Like, all the different things that the cars could do. The magical gun that can give things wings. There was a gun that shot kittens, and then to avoid the kittens, they shot the kittens with the wing gun, so the kittens grew wings and flew away. It was ridiculous. The whole thing was ridiculous, but so well done.
Oh, it was fantastic. And we found it online, and not the actual movie, but like the page talking about it, and the amount of festivals that it's been entered into
and won awards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like a long page of awards. Like, this thing is great.
Oh yeah.
Like, I hope there's a way soon for people to watch this thing, because it was so good.
And some of the things that come out of nowhere, like the guy in the trench coat specifically, without giving it away, the thing that happens, like the entire room busted out laughing.
The whole room burst out laughing.
It was so unexpected.
It was so good.
Yeah. And, the main character was this kid who had never won the race, and he had a little partner that was a puppet.
It was a puppet dinosaur thing.
Yeah. But at one point he puts on a mustache, and like kid's 10 or 12, and it's so weird because the mustache fits.
It looks like he actually could wear this mustache and it looked real.
Yeah, absolutely. He looked like Nick Offerman. But it was just adorable, and it was from Canada. I think it was French, so it was.
I guess it was French Canadian. I thought it was a French film, but when you looked it up, I guess it was from Canada, so French Canadian.
Yeah, exactly. The next one up was called Prout.
That's probably my second favorite one.
Oh yeah, this was all claymation.
Yes.
Claymation. That one was French or Belgian?
Belgian.
Belgian, yeah. And oh my god. So basically, the idea is there's a rocket there's a rocket ship dump truck that blasts off from Earth, goes to this planet, and it's basically like a junk planet.
Yeah, it's like the universe's garbage dump.
Right, it's like Earth from WALL-E.
Yeah,
at the very beginning.
Except it's not run by drones or droids. It's like little aliens that
Clean it up.
clean the planet. Like it's a garbage dump. I don't know how much cleaning they're doing, but they're patrolling
Yeah.
in some way.
So all this stuff is floating around in outer space. These two little yellow claymation guys are trying to do whatever it is that they do. All of a sudden, like a early 2000s Mac computer comes flying through the atmosphere.
One of those ones with the clear, colorful back.
Exactly. And it hits the poor worker guy in the head and knocks him. He's like
Flattened.
absolutely flattened, yeah. And then they call for help, and the medic and this other noodle guy go to find them. And they're accompanied by these little black
Creature
things. Spider morph things that like to fart.
They're kind of like a goofier version of the soot sprites from a couple different Studio Ghibli movies.
Yes, absolutely that. That's actually what I was thinking of during the movie. But then at one point there's a cruise ship that comes overboard and it's dropping all manner of waste and junk, and it's ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous. This is a full-on cartoon.
Oh, it is. And there's a thing that happens at the end, and you're just sitting there going, it's in such an awkward moment. You're just kind of like laughing, like, oh, can't, yeah. I don't even know how to describe that, but yeah. So
this felt like what could have been one of a series of shorts. Like I wanted more of these aliens.
Absolutely. Actually, it had a lot in common with something like Pingu.
Okay, I don't think I've seen clips of Pingu. I've never watched a full episode of Pingu.
It's kind of that cheek, like it's incredibly cheeky, and it's made for a kid crowd, but you can see how there's subversive elements that work really well for adults. Like
Okay.
the whole cruise line thing. Like it's not to that level, but like with Pingu at one point in his early episodes, he like peed on the floor, or he smashed his brother over the head, or there's this sea lion that's known just to scare people. Like
The walrus. I've seen
the
that
walrus,
clip.
yeah.
The horrifying walrus.
Exactly. But things like that, like it's done in a very cheeky way, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was Prout, and it was really, really adorable.
Yeah, I
Just-
wanted more of that one also.
Oh, 100%. I could have taken a good chunk of these. The next one was called The Rain, which was based off of a poem.
Oh, I forgot about that one. It was so short.
It was very short. Beautifully animated, though. But it was just talking about how, you don't know how many days that you're going to have. Like the birds of the air, they just kind of go and do their thing, and they live for today, and they don't really worry about it beyond that. So it was beautiful. It was very well done.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a ton else to say on that one.
No, like I said, I forgot about it because it's very short.
Yes. It is a 3-minute or maybe 5-minute deal.
I wouldn't even say it was 5 minutes. It went by real quick.
It did. Next one up was called The Croak Show. I think it was actually done in Unreal Engine. I don't quite remember.
I think at the end, one of the logos was for the Unreal Engine.
Yeah, but it was very well animated. It was all 3D animation. Basically, it was, I think it was Indian in origin. And it just
That would make sense with the music. At first, I thought it was a theremin, but then it went on. I was like, no, this isn't a theremin. I'm not sure what the instrument was. But they were using this instrument as the voice for a frog opera singer. Like, the frog was acting like an opera singer, but it's not opera at all.
Oh, see, now I got total diva, like, singer out of that frog.
Yeah. That's why it's like, it was like opera, but not opera.
I was thinking more like Britney Spears or someone that's like going up there, like putting their hand to their ear and just like, being
that kind of a diva, not an opera diva.
not an opera diva. I mean, it started out as an opera diva.
Yeah.
But then it kind of goes all Kiss the Girl, and you kind of pull in all these it's like a combination of Kiss the Girl with all the different instruments and like the Mos Eisley Cantina.
Yeah.
Like with the kinds of creatures.
Yes. Yeah.
And then at one point, near the end, there's this giant snake, and it just eats the main singer.
And she's singing as she's being digested.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I'm
The
sure
end.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe
It was great until it wasn't.
Yeah. Well, the acoustics inside of a snake's stomach, maybe they're good acoustics. I mean, who's to say?
It was odd. I liked it, but it was odd.
Yeah. I don't have anything against him personally. I thought it was like the animation was cool, the concept was neat, the music was great. Yeah, it ended strangely, but I didn't really have an issue with the way it ended. I thought it
was fine. I prefer a happier ending.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, I'm assuming that this frog is done for, so it's not a happy ending exactly to me, but...
Yeah, definitely no happy endings on that one for anyone involved.
I mean, for what we're coming to, this is fine. I'll watch this a million times over before I watch the next one.
Speak of the devil. And this one just kind of started out of nowhere. It's M and Selma Go Griffin Hunting. Now, as a precursor to this, when I saw the blurb on it, you just kind of look it over. It's like, oh, that's cool. We've got a set of griffin hunters. There's going to be maybe not whimsy, but it'll be an interesting.
I thought
mythical...
it was like a cute fairy tale type thing.
Yeah, absolutely. No.
It was awful.
Okay, let me add an addendum there. The animation,
the animation, I didn't love the designs, but the animation was great.
Yeah, fantastic animation. The kid was an incredible actor.
Uh-huh.
But John and I were talking afterwards, and the people behind it felt like they were either trying to work through some trauma, or they were making a very, there were statements or definite positions put out there, but it kind of got mixed up for me as to what exactly they were trying, if it was a moral type message that was supposed to be put out there, I feel like it got a little lost in transition.
Yeah, because, the point of the short was, or, in this world, it's a rite of passage for a mother and daughter to go hunting, and the daughter has to kill a griffin, and the daughter doesn't want to kill a griffin. I'm, warning right now, I'm spoiling the ending of this thing, because I don't think you should watch it. So the daughter decides she's not going to kill a griffin. The mom gets mad. The mom kills the daughter for not killing the griffin.
Right.
It's what is the point of this? I don't like this.
Tradition over everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I say I think someone had some sort of trauma having to do with their mother. And, I don't want to be the type of person to say, you need therapy instead of working it out through this, but I think this person needed some therapy if that's what was going on.
Maybe this was their therapy.
Probably. And, if it helps them, good. But I don't want to watch it again.
No, that is very, very fair. Again, I would say that all of the technical elements here were
it was
on
a very
point.
well done short.
Yeah, no,
it was very well put together.
Yeah.
Well acted. I just don't ever want to watch it again.
No, I'm there with you. And it was, I will say that it was kind of cool to see that kind of conflict between a mother and daughter in this environment. I liked the fact that it was sort of gender flipped for what would normally be a father and son going off to do that same ritual.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you. I could kind of see it coming. The more we watched it, the more those societal pressures were brought on by the mother. And you could see that things weren't going to end well. But yeah, it went places.
I wasn't expecting it to end well, but I wasn't expecting it to end with the mother killing the daughter.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That is a very fair point. So I thought that maybe the kid would ride off with the griffins, or
that's what I thought it was going. I thought the mom was going to freak out and the kid was going to escape with the griffins.
Yeah. Although, would you want to escape with a griffin that was like a camel / rat / dragon thing?
I guess I would prefer that to the mother.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
They were really hideous.
Yeah,
they were very well designed. It was a very good creature design. It's just when you think of griffin, you think majestic eagle lion creature, not half camel, half plucked turkey.
Well, it just goes to show that babies grow into their cuteness. Or something.
They need to have some more growing to do if they're going to attain any cuteness.
Just a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit. Next one up was quite a departure from, sort of a departure, I guess. They do address death and such, but it was called Hatchlings.
Anything is going to be better than that one. So it's a departure in a way better way, even if it is not as happy as you would want from what I was expecting. With previous ones, I was thinking we had just an all-around good time short block, and then we got nailed in the middle of it. So anything is an improvement from what we just watched.
That's very, very true. So the idea of Hatchlings was, I guess, a blended family. So you had the dad and the daughter from a previous relationship. He meets a lady, they have a son, and then they're pregnant with their third child. And the mom and the son are kind of talking about how sea turtles and tortoises are different branches of the same family, basically. Yeah. They're both turtles. They're both, do all these things. And the stepdaughter and the son are kind of shown back and forth as having these two, like one is a sea turtle, one is a tortoise. And, there's conflict about, the daughter wanting to go back to live with her mom, doesn't feel cared for,
It's one of those things where it's the grass is always greener, because you can tell from the way the mom talks to her on the phone that she's in a much better place with the dad and stepmom than with her train wreck of a mother.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So things happen, and the pregnancy goes awry. The new baby is born well, but the mother dies. And then you have this family that has to kind of reform and go from there. So
yeah, it doesn't end on a happy note, but it's still better than the one we just watched.
It ends on a realistic...
It's bittersweet.
It's bittersweet. It ends on a good note for the stepdaughter.
You can tell that, for better or worse, the mother or stepmother dying is probably changed the daughter for the better.
Yeah, very much.
It sucks that it took her stepmother dying for that to happen. But
Exactly. But it was a well put together piece. They pull in little allusions to sea turtles and tortoises.
Yeah.
Through some of the characteristics of the kids, as well as some additional...
They do like partial costumes, and then there's some animation.
Yep. So that was good. I am drawing a blank on this last one. Something Greater Than You? Do you remember what
the
that
raccoons.
was? Oh, that's right. So the last one was full stop motion animation.
Yeah, it was like wool felted creatures.
Yep.
Stop motion animated. I think they're wool felted. I don't think they were stuffed creatures. I think it was felted.
They were definitely felted creatures. But so you've got a set of raccoons that are going back and forth, scaring each other with bird sounds on a set of Walkmans.
There was one had a Walkman, the other one had
like
one of those
Fisher-Price.
kids. Yes, like a kid's tape player. Like I had one of those when I was a kid.
Yep.
I don't think I had that exact model, but I had something like that.
Aw, I bet you it was adorable.
I used it all the time. I love that thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But all of a sudden they realize that some of the bird sounds they're hearing from outside is a bird that's in the snow. And
I think
they bring
a chickadee.
Yeah, it was some kind of chickadee, and they bring it inside and they try to warm it up, and they try to find the tape of the chickadee sound to help the bird feel more at home. And they go through all these different tapes. Like one is like a romance on tape. One was like educational language tutorials. One was about the sounds of dogs. It was very cute, despite the kind of bittersweet of will the bird survive or not.
Spoiler alert: it survives.
Yes. This isn't another M and Selma Go Griffin Hunting.
No, I think that thing must have traumatized me, because when they first pulled the chickadee inside, I was like, the raccoon's gonna eat that chickadee, isn't it? I was expecting something dark and bloody to happen. Thankfully, I was wrong.
Absolutely. And we're happy for you. Because the last thing I'd want you to be is traumatized at the Julien Dubuque Film Fest. But that kind of sums up that particular block. Our last thing of the night that constitutes the traditional kind of features and shorts was a thriller, horror, sci-fi movie called Landlord. And like a few other things that we've seen, there was a lot of really good elements. I'm not sure that it came together quite as well as you could have. The story was actually really, the idea of it was really interesting, because with vampires, one of the traditional things is you have to invite them in. And this movie kind of asks what happens if the landlord is the vampire.
So he doesn't need to be invited in; he can just walk in.
Exactly, and that was kind of the premise. There were some interesting shots. They got their money's worth out of the red accent lights.
They did.
Oh my god. it takes place in probably a like working class neighborhood kind of a thing. But this woman who's a bounty hunter is going to try and track down a briefcase from a guy that stole money or something.
I was never clear on what exactly she was doing and why she needed this briefcase back and why the guy, like who she worked for. It was never clear to me. That was like my biggest problem with it. I was never sure what exactly was happening.
I kind of took it as she was like bounty hunter or like headhunter, or not a headhunter.
She was in the credits. She was listed as bounty hunter.
Okay.
She was never named. That was another thing I was confused by. Like I never, like, did I miss her name? Because I didn't think that anyone ever called her by name, but she was just credited as bounty hunter in the end credits.
Well, and she kind of plays things as very like anonymous.
Yes.
Across the board. I kind of took it as like it maybe like a mafia kind of thing, or mob boss. That's kind of the way I played it, or the way I kind of took it.
I think that they were probably going for it to be mysterious, which, if that's what they're going for, great. I almost feel like it was to the detriment of the film because I didn't care about any of these characters because I didn't know anything about them.
That's fair.
Like, I was never bored watching the movie. Like, I'm not a horror person, so this is not really my cup of tea, but I was never bored with this movie. I was invested in as much as I was wanting to know what happens. But in a movie like this, like if it's going to get, like, maybe it was to the better for me that I didn't care about anyone because it was never a point where I was like feeling bad about anything. Like if I'm watching a horror movie and I care about the people, it's like, I don't want to see these people die. But for this, it was like, if they die, I don't care. And also, you mentioned you thought it was too dark, and I almost think that was to the better for me because it hid anything that was like bloody and disgusting.
Oh yeah,
it was all hidden in the dark. So again, I didn't care. Like this is fine. Like I would watch this 100 times over before I watch the Griffin thing again.
I'm glad the bar is set for you at a certain level for everything going forward.
Yeah, so this was not my cup of tea, but it was fine.
Oh yeah, no. And obviously you did this based on my request because I'm always a fan of, because you go to a film fest and oftentimes, unless it's specifically like horror, sci-fi coded, a good chunk of what you're going to see from like fictional pieces are more dramas and things like that. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And we've seen some really good ones. But a really good horror movie at this level is not the easiest thing to do, despite the fact that there's horror movies being turned out like at crazy rates. It's just not a thing that you see as much of unless, again, it's at a branded horror, sci-fi, fantastic fest kind of a thing. So I was really intrigued to see kind of what would come out of something like this. And the premise alone really caught my eye. Like we talked about it. It was just a fantastic premise.
It is.
I feel like this would have been better as a really good short. I was never bored, but there's so much stuff that they didn't have time to flesh out. And I don't think you needed a lot extra, but there was like bits where it's like, do we really need this bit? And maybe, I don't know. It's easy to say when you're an armchair watcher of things. But
there were parts where it did feel like it was going on a bit too long.
Yeah. Like they did this whole thing with she had her dad's ashes, and
which I didn't realize that's what was going on. Until you told me after the movie. I was like, oh, I did not even realize that was what that jar was about. Right,
and there was a few other things, like even like the thing that brought her to the complex in the first place. That whole bit. I mean, yeah, you want to make sure to show that she's doing other things and there's a reason that she's there, but it's not ever a thing that's really hit enough to make it stick.
This movie is like the definition of show don't tell, and I feel like it could have used a little bit of telling.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that point. And I think it's a case, and I don't know. I need to look into the director to get a little bit better sense of like where he's at in his career. But like technically was very well done. The only thing I would say is, and it's a thing that happens with a lot of horror movies, there is that very fine line between dark for atmosphere and too dark to get the point across. And not even from a blood perspective, just like to be able to understand what's going on. Like with the vampire, I couldn't tell that he had contacts in, but I couldn't tell that he had contacts in until the second or third time that we saw him. And maybe the first time we see him, you're not supposed to get the idea that there's something outside the box about him other than he's like a killer of some sort. And the other thing, and this is more of a personal nitpick than anything else, I like the puke stuff. It's so overdone.
Yeah, I will say though, I've seen worse.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
The way they shot this puke scene, I prefer this to Pitch Perfect.
Yeah,
I like Pitch Perfect, but I do not know why they put in that barfing scene. This is fine in comparison to that, because it was just shown behind her, and then you kind of saw some of the aftermath. So in I don't like it. I don't like throwing up, but like you're gonna show puking, I prefer the way they did it here.
Yeah, no, it wasn't bad. Like I say, it's a personal nitpick, I think, more than anything else. But I thought that the actors were very good. I think the person that played the bounty hunter did a great job. Mm-hmm. Like, she kind of had the stoic thing going, but she also knew when to let that go. The kid was good. Mm-hmm. The vampire was interesting. The only thing I guess that was one other thing, like, for all those little moments that are supposed to add character development, with the ashes with the bounty hunter, or with the vampire, like, we see him longing for daylight, like he misses it. That's something that's been done so much in everything from Interview with a Vampire to, loads of other ones, and I just, there wasn't enough there for it to make you want to say, hey, I care that, I feel bad for this vampire not being able to see the sun, or, this makes them more human, or this adds that dimension. It really didn't do that.
It never felt to me like they were trying to make the vampire feel more human. It was like he was a straight up bad guy. And...
Well, yeah, but I just mean, like, you have those extra emotions for him, like, he is a killing machine, but he still has those elements of something besides the killer. Mm-hmm. Like, there is regret because he can no longer feel the sun. He can't, feel the warmth. He's, the things that you miss, kind of a deal. Mm-hmm. Again, it's a small thing, but again, I thought technically, like, the people that they got were well cast. It was the way that they did the practical effects with blood and everything. The squibs were great. There was no issues there. Like, there was a very competently done thing. It was well put together, like, well edited. They used a drone to kind of show the vampire coming in through the window a couple of times, which was really, really cool. The apartment complex, I don't know if they owned or if they, like, had contacts that allowed them to use the apartment complex, but they did a nice job of making make things look like not shoddy, but a little shoddy, to kind of match the general tone of things. Mm-hmm. So yeah, overall pretty solid. Not perfect, but horror is difficult. It really truly is. It's not just, tossing blood across the screen and calling it a day. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, for like I'm not a horror person, so I'm not the best judge, but like, this is fine. Like, it's not something I'm going to be in a hurry to rewatch. I did not care about the characters, but like, as a movie, I thought it was well done. Yeah. They could have just used tightening the script in some places, I think.
I would agree. I think, and I mean, with the movies that haven't done so well for us,
it's usually script issues.
Yeah, absolutely. And that makes sense. I mean, that's kind of your framework, and, something can look great on paper and not necessarily come together quite as much in the edit or when it's put together. But yeah, no, solid work. I mean, like a lot of the other ones, this was like written, produced, directed by, I think his name was Remington Smith. So yeah, I think that's it. Another day done.
Yes.
A very long day.
It was. So we were go the whole day.
Oh yeah, no doubt. So,
but yeah, if you watch anything that we've talked about, Soapbox.
Yep, absolutely.
That's the best.
And Prout.
That too.
Yep.
Yeah, they were both very good. Mm-hmm.
Cute.
But Soapbox is the one, like, I need to see that again.
Oh yeah,
it was so good. I hope it ends up somewhere that is readily available for people to watch.
Absolutely. Well, and as a short especially, just because that, for any shorts, that is an uphill battle to get distribution or stuff beyond the very basics. So
Yeah.
And it looked like it was through a relatively, like a decently well-promoted company. From what I looked at, just a little bit of research that I did on the company that was distributing them.
I feel like the fact that it has won so many awards gives it a better chance to get some sort of a better distribution.
I would agree.
Because a lot of the other shorts, I kind of think, like the ones we saw last year, I don't know that we'll ever see them again unless they put them on YouTube.
Right.
But I feel like with this one having won so many awards, somebody's got to pick it up for something somewhere.
Right. But yeah, no, I definitely soapbox. And I would say in the Still of the Night too. I don't know that it's like you talked about, it was a really well put together short. Being that it's a student piece and also that it's not soapbox. I don't know. You'd always hope that there would be something, but that's not as simple. I don't know where you'd start to distribute that. But yeah, tomorrow is the last day. Oh my God. Oof.
It went quick.
It did. It went very quick. So we'll have to do our recaps at that point. But
yeah.
All right. We'll see you on the flip side.
Okay.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe and follow my co-hosts as well. All of our links will be in the description below. If you'd like more podcasts like this one, all of our shows are available on YouTube as well as most podcast platforms. If you'd like to support this show, check out Johncast Media on Patreon for everything here, plus bonus and extended episodes you won't find anywhere else. We'll be back soon with another brand new episode, so thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.